You remember the sound, don't you? The crack of wood splintering in your baby's nursery. The voice message played through my phone, ice shooting down my spine. I'll never forget that day, finding my daughter's handmade crib smashed to pieces by fake HOA officers with batons. The day they learned they'd terrorized the family of a county sheriff and former Navy SEAL. I put Helen Markson and her thugs behind bars for that. But now, a year later, I found a new threat pinned to our door. We haven't forgotten what you did. Neither has she. The attached photo showed my wife Lisa walking our daughter Emma to daycare. Someone's watching us again. For those who don't know me, I'm Sheriff Mike Callahan, former Navy SEAL, father of a now 18-month-old, and apparently still on the revenge list of an imprisoned HOA tyrant. The first time, they broke my daughter's crib with a baton. This time, they're being more strategic. 3 days ago, I started noticing unmarked vehicles circling our block. Yesterday, Lisa's tires were slashed in the hospital parking lot. And this morning, I received a call from the prison warden. Helen has been coordinating with visitors. Where are you watching from? Ever had someone come after your family because you stood up to corruption? Buckle up. This time, I'm not just defending my home, I'm ending this threat permanently. I started by increasing our home security. Upgraded cameras, reinforced doors, panic buttons in every room. The neighbors thought I was paranoid. They didn't understand what Helen was capable of. During her trial, we learned she'd used HOA enforcement to drive out families across 3 counties, buying properties at deflated prices through shell companies. Her conviction took down 2 county commissioners and a judge who were part of her scheme. People with resources. People with connections. People with reasons to want me gone. The prison call logs showed Helen had 5 visitors in the past month. None related to her. One name jumped out, Daniel Reynolds, brother of Gary Reynolds, the fake HOA enforcer who destroyed Emma's crib. Gary was still serving his sentence, but Daniel had no record. Clean as a whistle, at least on paper, I ran deeper checks. Daniel owned a private security company with contracts at several gated communities. Sound familiar? I followed Daniel for 3 days, keeping my distance, using skills from my SEAL days. His company vehicles matched the ones circling our neighborhood. On day 4, he led me to a warehouse outside town. Through my scope, I watched him meet with 3 men. One I recognized immediately, Judge William Foster, who'd recused himself from Helen's case at the last minute, claiming a scheduling conflict. Now I knew why. That night, Lisa found an envelope in Emma's diaper bag after picking her up from daycare. Inside, photos of our bedroom, taken from inside our house, dated yesterday when we were both at work. Someone had been inside, someone had been near our daughter. I didn't tell Lisa, but I slept with my service weapon under my pillow that night. Didn't sleep much at all. The next morning I called in every favor I had at the department, put unmarked. Units on Daniel Reynolds and Judge Foster. Ran background checks on everyone at Emma's daycare. One name flagged, the new assistant director, Karen Matthews, hired 3 weeks ago. Previous employment, secretary at Foster and Associates law firm, Judge Foster's practice before he took the bench. This wasn't random. They were closing in around my family. I pulled Emma from daycare immediately. Lisa took emergency family leave from the hospital. We sent them to my parents' cabin upstate, no address on file, no digital footprint. I stayed behind. The hunter in me needed to draw out the prey. It didn't take long. The day after Lisa and Emma left, Daniel Reynolds approached me in the grocery store parking lot. All friendly, casual, like we were old acquaintances. Sheriff Callahan, heard your family's out of town. Shame to be rattling around in that big house alone. Do I know you? I asked, though I knew exactly who he was. Just a concerned citizen, he smiled. Wanted to make sure you're doing all right. These neighborhoods can be dangerous when you're on the wrong side of the community. I stepped closer. That a threat? His smile never wavered. Just an observation. Helen sends her regards. Says your daughter's growing up beautiful. Red looks good on her. Emma had worn a red dress the day before. The day she left with Lisa, I almost broke there. Almost drew my weapon and ended him in that parking lot. But that's what they wanted. The sheriff losing control, giving them leverage. Tell Helen I'm coming to visit her soon, I said instead. We have a lot to catch up on. That night, I went through every file from Helen's case again. Found what I'd missed before. Property records showing a trust that owned 40% of Pine Creek Estates. The trustee, William Foster. The beneficiary, Helen Markson's daughter, who lived out of state. Helen wasn't just running a scam. She was building generational wealth through corruption. I was halfway through the financial records when my phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. Check your email. The message contained a video attachment. My hands went cold as I opened it. Security footage from my parents' cabin. Someone watching from the tree line. Lisa and Emma clearly visible through the windows. The final frame, a rifle scope overlaid on my daughter's head. The message was, clear, back off or they die. But they'd made a critical mistake. Military-grade thermal optics have distinct signatures in digital video. This particular model only sold to 5 distributors nationwide. 1 local buyer in the last year. Reynolds. Security services, I had them. I couldn't call for backup. Couldn't risk official channels. The video made it clear they were watching my parents' cabin, possibly had someone inside the local department. One wrong move and Lisa and Emma would pay the price. I was operating alone, just like my final mission in Kandahar. I called Lisa using our emergency protocol, a code system we developed when threats against the sheriff's family became routine. Take Emma to the secondary location. Use the backwoods route. No. Phones. She understood immediately. The fear in her voice cut through me like a blade. They're here, aren't they? She whispered. Just move. I'll find you. I didn't tell her about the video, didn't mention the rifle scope on our daughter's head. As I armed myself at home, preparing to leave, headlights swept across my front windows. 3 vehicles surrounding the house. No markings, no sirens, not department issue. Through my security feed, I counted 8 men in tactical gear. Reynolds at the lead, carrying what looked like an arrest warrant. Judge Foster hanging back in. A town car across the street. This wasn't an arrest. It was an abduction. My tactical instincts kicked in. They expected me to run for the cabin, to lead them straight to my family. Instead, I needed to end this here. Cut off the head of the snake as they approached my front door. My phone rang. Helen Markson calling from prison. Quite the predicament, Sheriff, she purred. Should have taken the fines and left Pine Creek when you had the chance. What do you want, Helen? Simple. Recant your testimony. Tell the court you falsified evidence. My conviction gets overturned, properties returned, damages paid. Do that. Your family lives. The front door splintered under a battering ram. And if I don't, then Judge Foster signs custody over to my daughter after your tragic accident. Reynolds found drugs in your home, you know. Planted a lot of evidence before coming in. Your wife, too. Unstable to raise a child after your death. My daughter always wanted a little girl. Every muscle in my body screamed to fight, to put these men down. But Helen had created the perfect trap. Fight and lose my family, surrender and lose my freedom. Unless I could create a third option. I need proof my family stays safe. Video call, right now, or no deal. As footsteps thundered through my house, I made my decision. Sometimes, to protect what matters, you have to let the predators think they've won. Hands up, on your knees! Reynolds' men stormed my living room, weapons trained on me. I complied, hands raised, eyes calculating distances, angles, opportunities. The body cam on Reynolds' chest was streaming to Helen. Good. I needed her watching. "Reynolds, this is a mistake," I said, loud enough for the camera. "Judge Foster is using you. Ask yourself why a judge is sitting outside during an arrest." Doubt flickered across his face before hardening again. "Shut up. You're done talking." He zip-tied my hands while Helen watched via his camera. "I want to see my family first," I demanded. "Video proof they're safe, then I'll sign whatever confession you want." Helen's voice came through Reynolds' phone. "Call your men at the cabin. Show him." Reynolds nodded to one of his men who made a call. Moments later, my phone buzzed with a video call. I recognized the area, not my parents' cabin, but near it. The camera panned to show armed men searching the woods. No sign of Lisa or Emma. "Where are they?" Helen demanded, voice rising. "What did you do?" I smiled for the first time that night. "You should have studied my service record more carefully, Helen. Navy SEALs are trained to create distractions." While they'd been surrounding my house, I'd activated a county-wide protocol I'd established 6 months ago after the first incident, Operation Ghost Family. Every sheriff's deputy, not at my house, was now converging on the prison, where Helen was making her unauthorized call. The warden, a personal friend, had been tracking her communications for months at my request. Reynolds realized something was wrong when his men at the cabin reported no sign of my family. "Find them!" he shouted into his radio. That's when we both heard it, sirens approaching from multiple directions. Not coming to my house, but creating a perimeter, I'd anticipated this move from the moment we found Foster's connection to Helen. "Your brother made the same mistake," I told Reynolds, underestimating a father's preparation. I'd positioned microscopic cameras throughout my home after the crib incident, not connected to my main security system, but to a secure server at my office. Everything happening now was being recorded, backup evidence in case something went wrong, and I'd prepared one more surprise. As Reynolds turned toward the window at the sound of sirens, I activated the small device in my mouth with my tongue. A signal beacon disguised as a dental crown, installed after the first attack. 3 rapid clicks sent an alert to the only person I trusted completely outside the department, former SEAL team member Marcus Rivera, positioned in the woods behind my house. The power cut out instantly. Night vision goggles gave Marcus the advantage as he disabled the rear guards silently. Reynolds and his remaining men panicked in the darkness. I dropped to the floor, rolled behind the couch I'd reinforced with Kevlar panels months ago. Reynolds fired wildly into the darkness. "What's happening?" Helen screamed through the phone still connected. "Reynolds, report!" Glass shattered as flashbang grenades burst through multiple windows. In the chaos, I worked my zip-tied hands under my legs and to my front, reached for the ceramic blade hidden in my belt buckle, undetectable by standard searches. Cut myself. Frea's trained men in tactical gear swarmed through every entrance. These weren't department officers. They were my former SEAL teammates, private citizens now, responding to a brother in danger. We'd planned this contingency, trained for it in secret while everyone thought I was just being paranoid. Within 30 seconds, Reynolds and his men were subdued. Judge Foster, seeing the operation collapse, tried to flee but found his town car suddenly blocked by Marcus's truck. I walked outside to meet Foster personally, now wearing a vest and holding my service weapon. His face drained of color as he recognized me. "This is highly illegal," he sputtered. "You can't—" "Correction," I interrupted. "Everything here is being done by private citizens responding to an armed home invasion. The only law enforcement action happening right now is at the state prison, where Helen Markson is being caught orchestrating a kidnapping and attempted murder from her cell." I leaned closer. "But here's what will happen next. You're going to sign a full confession detailing your relationship with Helen, the property scheme, and tonight's operation. My team has already secured your files, your offshore accounts, and testimony from 3 of your associates who rolled over this afternoon when presented with evidence. Foster's shoulders slumped. You can't prove anything. I held up my phone. Helen was still connected, hearing everything. Helen, tell him about the recording devices in your visitor's room. The ones the warden installed at my request. The ones that caught every detail of your conversations over the past month. Her scream of rage was all the confirmation Foster needed. He crumbled, realizing the depth of the trap they'd walked into. As my team secured the scene, my phone rang with a video call. Lisa and Emma, safe at a location known only to us, a bunker beneath my former commander's property. Emma smiled, sleepily unaware of the danger. Lisa's eyes asked the question she couldn't voice in front of our daughter. It's over, I said simply, completely this time. Reynolds and his men were led away by actual deputies arriving on scene. Foster was placed in a separate car, already offering to testify against everyone involved. But the most satisfying image came from the prison. Security footage of Helen being moved to solitary confinement, all privileges revoked, facing new charges that would ensure she never breathed free air again. 3 months have passed since that night. Helen's new trial added 40 years to her sentence. Judge Foster cooperated fully, exposing corruption across 3 counties. 12 more arrests followed, including 2 more judges and a district attorney. Daniel Reynolds is sharing a cell block with his brother. Family reunions aren't always happy. We've moved to a new home on secured land. The old house held too many shadows. Lisa's sleeping through the night again. Emma's too young to remember any of it, thank God. My SEAL teammates check in weekly, though Marcus decided to stay, joining the department as our new tactical trainer. The HOA fraud task force I established last year has now expanded statewide. Turns out, Helen's operation was just the tip of the iceberg. We've helped recover over $40 million in stolen property and funds for families who were forced out of their homes. I still keep a piece of that broken crib. Not as a reminder of what happened, but as a promise that preparing for threats isn't paranoia when you have something worth protecting. Sometimes the most dangerous predators don't look like monsters. They look like neighbors with clipboards and judges with gavels. If there's one thing worth fighting for in this world, it's making sure your child never has to. Let me know in the comments if you've ever had to stand against corruption in your community. Stay vigilant. Stay prepared.